Cuban son. More than just a genre, it's a powerful expression of identity, history, and cultural fusion. Emerging from the blending of African and Spanish musical traditions, son became the foundation for many of today's Latin American genres, from salsa to Latin jazz. But how did son develop, and why is it so deeply connected to Cuban culture? In this video, we'll explore the history, cultural significance, and musical characteristics of son, while also examining its contemporary relevance. Drawing from scholars like Fernandez, Manuel, and Robbins, we will analyze how son reflects key themes in Latin American music, including transculturation, creolization, and the role of music in identity formation. The origins of son cubano are often traced back to the eastern region of Cuba, particularly Santiago de Cuba, in the late 19th century. This region was a melting pot of African, Spanish, and indigenous influences, making it an ideal environment for musical innovation. Son developed from a blend of Spanish poetic forms, such as decima and canción, and African polyrhythmic structures, making it one of the most important examples of transculturation in Cuban music. Traditional narratives suggest that son originated as a rural genre in Oriente and later spread to Havana. However, Manuel challenges this assumption. He argues that many of son's defining musical features, such as the clave rhythm and anticipated bass, were already present in Havana's urban contradanza music in the 19th century. This suggests that son was not just an import from Oriente, but rather developed through both urban and rural influences. Regardless of its exact origins, what is clear is that son gained momentum as it moved through rural areas to Havana in the early 20th century. Soldiers, migrants, and working-class musicians carried the sound with them, gradually introducing it to new audiences. By the 1920s, son had evolved from informal gatherings into a structured and widely popular genre, thanks in large part to groups like Sexteto Habanero and Septeto Nacional, who modernized son's instrumentation and performance style. At first, son faced resistance from Cuba's elite, who viewed it as a low-class music associated with Afro-Cuban communities. However, its infectious rhythm and its danceable nature quickly won over audiences across racial and social lines, eventually making it Cuba's most celebrated musical form. As son became more widespread, it took on deeper symbolic meaning. More than just dance music, son became a powerful marker of Cuban national identity. As Robbins explains, son is a direct reflection of creolization, the blending of African and European elements into something uniquely Cuban. For much of its early history, son was associated with Afro-Cuban musicians and the working class. This led to a divide between traditional elite-controlled music, such as danzón, and the more rhythmically driven son. However, as its popularity grew, son became a bridge between social classes. It was no longer just the music of black musicians. It became a symbol of Cubanidad, or Cubanas. Yet despite its widespread appeal, tensions persisted. Son was often framed as a genre for dancing, rather than serious artistic appreciation, reflecting a broader debate about the value of popular versus elite music. These tensions highlight the complexities of music as a social and political tool, shaping both identity and cultural hierarchy. What makes son distinct from other genres? At its core, son is built on a foundation of rhythmic interplay, syncopation, and call and response structures. One of its defining features is the clave rhythm, a two-bar pattern that serves as the backbone of the music. This rhythm creates a sense of movement that makes son inherently danceable. Another key feature is the anticipated bass, a syncopated technique where the bass line plays slightly ahead of the beat, giving son its distinctive groove. This feature later became a crucial element in salsa music. Son's instrumentation also reflects its fusion of cultural influences. Traditional son ensembles include the tres, a Cuban guitar with 3 pairs of strings, often playing syncopated melodic riffs. Bongos, small hand drums that provide rhythm and dynamic intensity. Claves, wooden sticks that maintain the clave rhythm. Maracas, percussion instruments that add texture and drive the beat. Trumpet, a later addition that gave son a more dynamic and jazz-influenced sound. Structurally, son is divided into two main sections: the verso, or sung melodic section, and the montuno, which features call and response patterns and instrumental improvisation. The montuno allows for greater audience participation, making son an inherently social and interactive genre. While son reached its peak in the mid-20th century, its influence is still felt today. In the 1990s, the Buena Vista Social Club revival introduced son to a global audience, proving its enduring appeal. Beyond Cuba, son's impact can be seen in the rise of salsa, which developed in New York during the 1960s. Salsa took the rhythmic and structural elements of son and fused them with jazz and Puerto Rican influences. Even today, contemporary Cuban genres like timba and reggaeton borrow from son's rhythmic patterns and improvisational style. Son is not just a relic of the past. It remains a living tradition, constantly evolving while maintaining its roots in Afro-Cuban heritage. Studying son has deepened my appreciation for Latin American music as a reflection of history, identity, and cultural resistance. It embodies key themes from our class, including transculturation, diaspora, and identity formation. Son is more than just a genre. It's a story of resilience, adaptation, and the power of music to connect people across generations and borders. Thank you so much for watching today. I leave you with one of my favorite clips of Buena Vista Social Club playing at Carnegie Hall in New York. I think it does a great job of demonstrating the international appeal that Cuban son gained as a music genre. Please enjoy.
Ya no sé